Glass Onion. This is a sequel to Knives Out, once again written and directed by Rian Johnson, someone I hate, as you all know. But yeah, he's made a sequel. I kind of enjoyed the first one. I don't think it was great, but I thought it was decent entertainment for 2 hours. And Daniel Craig returns in this movie. He's the only returning character as the world's greatest detective, Blanc. I was intrigued by this. Again, it is a good cast. I like the setting on this private tropical island. There's colourful characters like billionaires, streamers, a politician. It had potential in my eyes when I looked at the trailer and I thought, that looks like it could actually be better than the first one. My thoughts on this movie are, it's good, but it's not great. And I don't think it's all that imaginative, especially for a murder mystery film. I don't think it introduces anything new or imaginative, which I think is something that really should be the focal point for a movie of this genre. A bit like Knives Out, this film attempts to misdirect you by taking you on a certain path to add shock value. And again, also like Knives Out, the obvious person is in fact the killer. And again, it tries to misdirect you from that, but when it comes to the reveal, it's the person who it seems like it really would be. A lot of murder mysteries have someone who seems like the obvious suspect, but then it turns out to be someone that you wouldn't expect, whereas Knives Out and Glass Onion have an obvious suspect, but then they just try to throw you off for 2 hours, and then you find out it was in fact the person, well, that you were thinking it was at the start. It's the person that really does seem obvious. I'm not shitting on this movie as a whole though, because I was invested and entertained by these characters, but ultimately the point of the film, which is the whodunit, doesn't live up to the hype that Rian Johnson attempts to build. The positives of this movie, I'd say, are the flamboyant characters. I had a good time with the characters. I like Edward Norton's billionaire philanthropist, he's just kind of your typical billionaire, character in a movie, but I thought he was good. I like Dave Bautista in this movie as well. Benoit Blanc was pretty good as well, but not as good as he was in the first film. I don't think he had as much of the spotlight. I also like the location for this a lot. I like the fact that it was set on an island and they're the only people there. I think that just amplifies the stakes and the tensions because no one can really go anywhere. And on top of that, the movie was actually pretty funny at times. I had a good laugh during watching this movie. Fair enough, I had been on the brandy at the time, but it did make me chuckle. And I did enjoy myself. I definitely didn't finish the movie thinking, ugh, that was shit, or ugh, that was disappointing. But again, the twist or twists in this movie just weren't very imaginative or clever in my eyes. It just seemed to use a lot of cliches, a lot of cheap tricks, a lot of stuff you've seen before in order to add some drama to it. And for that reason, it made the plot the weakest part of this movie. The murder mystery was the weakest part of this film. And the film is a murder mystery, so that's a pretty crucial thing to get wrong. On top of that, none of the characters here surprised me. You can pretty much gauge the character when you first meet them. You can kind of really get a gist of what that character is like, what sort of person they are. But you think, oh, maybe you're gonna, learn something. That one of them is actually offering more than what you see on the surface because they're all coming across as these egotistical rich people. So you think maybe you're going to find out that one of them is actually a bit of a mastermind. One of them has something else to offer. No, they were just the people you see from the start. There was no real depth or cleverness to them, and there was no real depth or cleverness to the plot. I could also argue that the plot is actually pretty misleading, so therefore it's not clever at all when big things are revealed to us. It's almost like a story was being told incorrectly to throw us off, and then it was just recorrected, which is actually something that kind of happens in this movie. You are almost told a story for like 45 minutes or an hour, and then it sort of jumps back and then starts telling the story again with new information. And honestly, it seemed a bit lazy. It seemed like Rian Johnson was just saying, let me tell you the wrong thing and then let me tell you the right thing. So you would just kind of feel like if you ever rewatch this movie, the first hour would just be pointless because everything you're seeing is somewhat incorrect. And that just didn't work out for me as a way to lay out this movie. I don't think that is a good way to lay out a movie, specifically a murder mystery movie. I don't think it works very well. Saying all that, even though it sounds like I've just kind of slagged the movie off for most of this review, I did enjoy this movie. I think it's a good movie, honestly. I wouldn't say it's bad. Maybe some people would say it's pretty mid or it's okay, and I would say that's a completely fair opinion. I would label this movie as good. I don't think it does what it's meant to do very well, but I don't think there's problems with like the quality aspect of it. You know, I think the writing for the most part is good. I think the editing is pretty clever at times. I think the acting is good. I can't really complain with. I think they did the basics pretty well, but the thing that they really needed to hit the nail on the head to make it, go to the next level wasn't done very well. And yeah, I had a good time with this movie. You know, maybe it was the Christmas spirit because I watched most of it on Christmas Day. Maybe it was the fact that I was slightly drunk. I don't know, but I enjoyed this movie, and I would give it a 7 out of 10. And in terms of the rewatchability rating, if this came on late night TV, I would watch it again. There you have it. Glass Onion. Been getting some mixed reviews, hearing mixed things, but I don't think people necessarily hate it. I've seen some people hate it, but I don't think many people do. I think a lot of people just like, it was alright. I can't really say if I prefer it to the first one. Right now, I would feel more inclined to rewatch Glass Onion than Knives Out, but maybe. I don't know. They're probably about the same level, honestly. Glass Onion. Have you seen it? If you have seen it, let me know what you think about it, and thank you for watching. I know I haven't reviewed stuff for a while. I've actually been slacking on the YouTube, I'll be honest. It's a busy time of year. And it's kind of hard to find the time at the moment. I know, excuses. But I'm going to do what I can to just try and get some more content out for you guys. I'm going to do my best. But yeah, thank you for sticking along, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.